everyone, it's Lizzie and welcome back to my channel. Today is another episode of Budget with a Friend. So if you guys are interested to see what this budget looks like, then keep on watching. So this viewer had sent in her information. She is a single mom. She has a 6-year-old and she has a house that's paid in full. It was a gift from her grandmother. So that is such a blessing that she doesn't have to worry about not having a home for her child. And that's just such a blessing for her. She does take care of her grandmother, who is 81 years old. So that is also something else that's on her plate. Not only does she have to care for her son, but she also takes responsibility and makes sure that her grandmother is okay. So I just think that that is such a loving thing to do. So she sent in all of her bills. So a great thing is that she does not have to pay rent and she doesn't have a mortgage payment. So that alleviates a lot of stress that someone else might be facing. So I wrote in all of the bills that she has in 1 month. She has some debt. She did say that she has her first $1,000 saved as a starter emergency fund. So she's on track with the baby steps. But this is my process of how I would budget out her finances. So if I was in her shoes, how would I make a plan for my finances? So the first thing is to utilize a calendar. You can use your phone or you can do a pen to paper like I did here, and then mark off the paydays. So she gets paid bi-weekly on Fridays. So I always like to make a note of when payday is. And then I also use this sheet called a bill tracker. And what's really nice about the bill tracker that I always mention is that it gives me a visual of how I would split up my bills and my expenses based on each paycheck. And the highlight is, okay, this is the due date. This is when I have to have the total amount completed because I have to pay it before the due date or at least on the due date. So that's why I have some columns here that are highlighted. So right here, these are all of her bills and expenses that she sent in. Now, again, everything that I do is just based on the information that I have received. There could be some things that have been missing from what she sent me, but overall, I think that she was pretty clear with how she spends her finances. So these are her goals, these are her expenses and their due dates. So I list them out based on their due date, what the total amount is, and then I also included down here some other variable expenses. So she told me that she has a food budget, and this is not only for her eating out but also groceries. And so she budgets out $400 a month. I think that's pretty good. The formula I use for groceries is what Jordan Page teaches, which is setting aside $100 for each person in your household, starting at $300. So being that she cares for her grandmother and her son, that's $300 right there. And then giving that extra cushion for going out to eat. I think $400 is a reasonable and realistic budget for food. And then she has a gas budget. She told me that she spends about $80 a month. So I just made a note of that here. And splitting it up by each of her paychecks, everything is written down here. Now the totals of these expenses, I just made a note of what all of these add up to. So I really like to utilize this bill tracker because I like that visual and I think is really easy to follow. Now the next thing that you will do, or that I do, is grab the paycheck budget worksheet. And so taking the numbers that we had written in, utilizing this bill tracker, you can just plug in all of the numbers right on this worksheet here. So she told me that she gets paid bi-weekly and her paychecks amount to $1,235, and that is after all of the taxes and insurance and everything gets taken out. So that is her net pay. Now, one thing that I like to do is using a percentage formula. Now, if you are in debt, I would recommend possibly aiming at an 80% formula. And that's something that we actually lived by, the 80-20 budgeting method. 80% went to all of your expenses, all of the things that get paid out, and then 20% we split that. Half was giving, and then the other half went to our goal. So in this case, based on the totals that we added up here, 80% of her income for expenses was not realistic. So let me zoom you guys in so that you can see this clearer. So we are budgeting out 85% for her expenses. And why I think percentages is doable and helpful is because it gives you like a guide of how you can not only spend on your day-to-day expenses, but you can also save and reach your goals simultaneously, right? So that's why I like and I prefer to live off of a percentage for all of your spending and then your goals. So aim to reach 80% is my encouragement to you if you do have debt. But if you can't, then just add a couple of percentages. So in this case, we added an extra 5% for her expenses. So this gives a total of $1,049.75 as your expenses. What is your daily bills and all of that. And then the 15% can be applied towards goals. So her goal is to become debt-free and to also establish a larger emergency fund. And she also mentioned that she knows that she would have to get rid of the debt before she can build that up for that to be realistic. But then she also wants to save for like house maintenance so that she can pay like property taxes and all of that come March. So I really like using this type of formula because it just gives me a number that I will try to aim for when it comes to the spending and also when it comes to saving or your goals. So we have this number. We are not applying anything to the giving. She didn't mention anything about that, but if you do, then obviously you would put in that number. And then now we are writing in what the expenses are based on the bill tracker. So all you do is you look at the date. So this payday is for July the 10th. And then you just go down the column and write in what you had already made a plan for. You write that in your paycheck budget. So that's what I did here. I wrote in all of the numbers, and this is based on how I would do it. So this being the first paycheck of July, I would have hoped that she had set aside funds for, let's say like this 110 payment for City Card. We split it up half and half for each paycheck. So hopefully she does have something in her checking account that could cover the difference of that because payday is the 10th. Same thing when it comes for her car payment. That's a pretty big car payment. So hopefully she did plan ahead for that. But that's how I break down this bill tracker. So now looking back at this, we know that the total expense section is $805.73. So remember, the goal up here was to be within $1,049 for all of the spending. So that leaves us with a remaining balance of $429.27, but she still has to eat and she still has to fill her gas tank. So we are just splitting up, like we said here on this bill tracker, $200 is going for food and then $40 is going for gas. So that's what we did here. Now this is just based on what she gave me. I'm just writing up how her spending is now. At the end of the video, I will be giving you guys my recommendations on how I would switch up this budget, and my husband will also be giving his 2 cents in as well. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. So this is what her cash envelopes. Now I don't know if she utilizes cash envelopes. I just put it in the section. So $240 is what is the envelope total. Now, she also mentioned that she has sinking funds, and these are the sinking funds categories that she provided me, along with the amounts that she set aside for. So for Christmas, her goal is to have $350 saved by Thanksgiving, and she's already off to a great start. She has $200 saved so far. So in order to get her to that goal, it's $30 a month from July up until November. So we are splitting that up by each paycheck. So she already calculated that. It's $15. So the total sinking funds for her is $60. Now, she did mention, and I adjusted a few things because I realized that the best thing would be for her to apply the extra towards debt. She did mention that she wanted to have a home maintenance savings to have about $550, and that is to have that by March. So the way that you can do that is you take a calculator, 550, right? And then you count how many months will it take for you to reach your goal. So we are in July, so we're going to count July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, and then March. So 9 months to reach 550. So you just divide that by 9 and it gives you a number. So we'll just say $60 just to make it easier. So she gets paid twice every month. So you split that in half. So $30 is what we're putting for her home maintenance savings account. But then she also said that she has some debt. She has some credit cards, and based on the smallest balance, we would want to pay that one off first. She has a balance on a Capital One credit card of totaling $499.11 with a 24.74% APR. So being that is the smallest balance, I think we should just get rid of that. The sooner that you get rid of that, you can just roll that lump sum over and start paying off the next credit card. So based on what is remaining and what we've applied to the cash envelopes and sinking funds, it will give us $99.27 left over. So just so you guys can see that, it's $429.27, and then we just subtract the envelope total along with the sinking funds and then the savings that we are applying. $99.27 is what she can apply to her debt, and that's why I wrote this in here. So you always want to give every single one of your dollars a job. So that is paycheck number 1 for July. And then the last paycheck for her is on the 24th. So again, we look to our bill tracker to see what we are applying. Same income, same percentage formula, but the expenses are different. So we are just gonna go, like I said, down the line to make sure that we are applying the correct dollar amount and the correct bill payment that we are setting aside for this from this paycheck. If you've made it this far and you are enjoying this, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and send any questions that you have about this particular budget in the comment section down below. But these are the payments and the bills that I would set aside from this paycheck. And then again, she has some variable spending, her food and gas, her sinking funds, and then also her savings and an extra debt payment. So as you can see, she's able to apply more to her debt. And the only reason why I'm recommending this is because her goal is to become debt-free. And the only way that you can do that is to make a few sacrifices. So even though the total expenses, as you can see here, the total expenses are less than the previous paycheck, it is a benefit because she can apply more from this paycheck to her debt. So I think that, she's doing pretty well. There are a few things that I would recommend to her for anyone that is in a similar situation. All right, so now it is time for our recommendations. So if we were in this viewer's shoes, what would we do?
Disclaimer, we're not professional finance people. We don't, none of this stuff. We're just giving people tips and suggestions to what we have done, what has worked for us. And we do this because we did it. We're not telling you to do something because we haven't done it. We're only telling you what we know and what we've experienced. So don't think that we're not pros, we don't know everything, and we're just letting you know what we would do in your situation. So just remember that we're not professionals. This is not what we do for a living or anything. We just like to help people with
and inspire
with their finances. Just give them hope that it is possible to be debt free and to live free, especially in a time like this. It's possible.
It is possible.
You don't have to live by what you think or people say you have to. So
good. So there's a few things. The first thing that I notice when it comes to her budget is that she doesn't have anything that is spending related. In order to have a realistic budget, you need to be truthful to your actual spending. It is, in my opinion, there's no way that you don't go through a time where you will want to buy a shirt, where you will want to buy makeup or something, get your hair done. Now, sometimes you obviously, based on your situation, you would cut back on that. But in reality, you could go to Goodwill. You can do Facebook Marketplace and buy something at an affordable price. And so on here, what she had mentioned is that she didn't mention that she buys these things. And maybe she doesn't. But I think it is only wise that if it's $10 that you have in your budget, will slowly grow your spending envelope so that when you have enough money, you can actually go and buy something for yourself. So that's one thing that I did notice, that she might have to, cut back on some subscriptions. If it's the Apple Music, if it's the iTunes, I don't know if that's like storage for the phones that she has on her phone plan. I know that she pays for not only hers, but it's like a family plan. So maybe they could contribute to that phone plan.
I was trying to hold it.
Okay.
Your hair's like mad puffy here.
My hair is puffy. I braided my hair, so that's just my thoughts and my recommendation to this viewer. But my husband, the thing that he noticed the most was
credit card. Credit card debt. There's a lot.
There's
a lot there. They have high interest rates.
Let me just read through the balances. There's a personal loan. Total balance is $7,946. A car, $12,221 is the car balance. There's a Capital One credit card, balance $499. As I mentioned earlier, APR is 24.74%. Another Capital One card, balance is $727. APR is the same, 24.74%. There's two Citi card, there's two Citi cards with balances. One is $4,508 and some change. APR on that one is 19.99%. Second Citi card balance is $4,970 and some change with an APR of 15.24%.
It's a lot. Like that personal loan, it has a payment of $266. That's a lot of money. These other ones have only $25.
And then the Citi card,
$95. That's a lot.
$110 for the Citi card for the next one.
$110, $195. I mean, that's a lot in credit card payments a month. So that's what I would focus on. I would focus on the credit cards and then get rid of that car. but the credit cards definitely. I would probably like consolidate them. Probably try to get one credit card to pay them all off. That way you have one payment and then one interest rate, so you don't have to worry about all of this, because that's high interest rate. And especially if you're just making minimum payments, it's gonna take forever.
Now, one thing that we were talking about, you know, what would be our recommendation? Now, this is totally against the Dave Ramsey plan.
Yeah.
The consolidation, he says you're just shuffling your debt. I would have to disagree. If you are one, to not build more debt. So if you are going to be consolidating your debt, the one thing that we would recommend is
you cut them up like yesterday. Just cut them, don't use them ever again.
Yeah.
And then just pay the heck out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like I said, minimum payments, it's going to take a long time to pay these each individually. So bringing it all into one, I think it'll just be a little better. The payment will be less interest rate. Yeah. And then what you can do too on top of that is that you can throw some extra money to it. Like you can get some, you know, a little side hustle, get some extra money and just throw any extra you have, just throw it on that and just get rid of it as soon as possible, because that's a lot.
But another thing, so she mentioned that her house is paid off. So again, the Dave Ramsey thing, he will not like that I'm recommending this, but you have equity available in your house. And with home equity lines of credits, the interest rate is much less than your credit card or than a personal loan. Personal loans, interest rates are extremely high. I know this, I work in a bank, I see the loan interest rates. I know that they are way high. Home equity lines of credit are meant to be less interest. You could get a line of credit, consolidate all of your loans, say to the lender, I will be paying this one off, but say you are going to be consolidating your debt into that one loan. Cut up all of your credit cards. Do not apply for another credit card at this time. Do not.
Ever.
Don't do it. And pay just that one, focus on the one loan. And I think that will make it a lot simpler, and it will help you in the end. Now, again, to those who follow Dave Ramsey 100%, I am sorry. Just skip over this part and you can just not agree, and that's fine. Perfectly fine. We've done debt consolidation, balance transfers on credit cards, and we are 100% debt free. Saving for our next house.
Just makes it easier to keep track of just one payment.
Yeah. That is what we recommend to someone in this shoes, and that's how we would do it. If we were in your shoes, that's what we would do. We got rid of our cars, bought used cars. We consolidated credit cards into 0% interest. We did it, and we're here now. So the things that we share is things that we've actually done in our walk to debt freedom. And so that's what we would always recommend to you as a viewer. But yeah, I think, do you have anything else to add?
It takes discipline, it takes patience, but it's possible. Like, I never thought it was possible when we were doing it, but since we are, it's cool. It's like, oh, well, if we did it, like anybody can do it.
Exactly.
So yeah, it just takes some patience and time, and just takes discipline, and you have to set a goal and do it. Just follow it.
Yeah.
You know, don't compromise.
And so we're here as your friends, talking to you truthfully, and giving our suggestions. So if you found this video helpful or inspiring in any way, definitely let us know in the comments section down below. We love to read your comments and respond to you. And if you'd like to just see if we were in your shoes, how would we write up a budget, then check the link in the description box to submit your budget with a friend information. All right, so that is everything for today's video. I hope you found it helpful and motivating and inspiring and all of the good things. If you did, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and we will see you guys in the next one. Nana.